Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today is the day. It's time for the massive community blog post that Infinity Ward was teasing to us over the course of the past days and weeks. They're going to be talking about what's going to be happening with Season 2, all the updates, the reason why they got rid of Season 2 and had to delay it back a couple of weeks. All that's going to be covered here today, which means we're going to have a ton of information, right? No, fuck no, dude. Oh my god, they barely gave us anything in here, really whatsoever, when it comes to multiplayer. Battle Royale, on the other hand, oh boy, they're gonna be getting so many changes. So let's check this out here. I'll put a link to the blog post down there in the description. The path to Season 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Warzone 2 community update. So if we scroll down here, we got global changes, crashes and stability. They've been working on that. They've been working on that since launch. We'll see how it works. When it comes to audio, they're talking about how they're having some issues with the different forms of audio in the game. Honestly, it's just all convoluted and confusing, but apparently the audio occlusion is going to be like better. I don't know. The UI, they're going to be revamping the UI across the board to try and make it better. That's something they've also been working on since launch, and to their credit, the UI has gotten better since launch, and apparently with Season 2, it's going to be even smoother and a bit less confusing. When it comes to the experience of players right here, improved after action report with audio. A play again feature in Battle Royale, so on and so forth. Weapon balancing. They're going to be adding weapon balancing in Season 2, and they're not going to tell us what it's going to be. We'll have to wait until Season 2, which is midway through February, to actually see what the weapon balance is going to be. All right, cool. Battle Royale. Was that it? That was it. I mean, if you look at Battle Royale here, I'm not even going to read through this because, again, I'm not a Warzone player. If you guys are, then feel free to check out the blog post or watch any number of other YouTubers covering this stuff. Look at all the changes that are happening right now with the Warzone. Just a sheer amount of text. And then DMZ also has even more than that. Like, we have a whole bunch of other stuff going on here with DMZ and Warzone. Oh, here at the very bottom, multiplayer. Okay, surely this will be long. No. That's pretty much it. They just basically said what they said at the very beginning about the audio occlusion. Perk balancing. This is actually like the only major change going from Season 1 into Season 2, which, mind you, they delayed Season 2 for 2 weeks to work on fan feedback, and this is the only feedback that they've actually taken into consideration. We've heard a lot of feedback regarding the timing of bonus perks, specifically the Ghost perk. We looked at swapping this perk's position. We felt it would create severe imbalance in the perk system for Season 2. We've updated the rate at which the bonus and ultimate perks are earned. They reduced the bonus perk cost by 50% and the ultimate perk cost by 25%. That's it. That's all they did. They delayed the game, right? They delayed the season for 2 weeks to do that. That's it. I mean, there will be some weapon balancing. Again, we're going to have to wait till Season 2 to actually get the full patch notes on the weapon balance changes. And then Hardcore is going to be returning to Modern Warfare 2. They already announced that, but Hardcore is returning. And there was some confusion as to whether or not Hardcore is going to remain with Tier 1. No, Tier 1 is going the way of the dodo, and Hardcore is going to be taking over. We are excited for fans to have this franchise favorite back in the mix for Season 2. Yeah, it's almost as if you tried fixing what isn't broken, realized the new thing that you put in the game was pretty stupid, and people wanted the old thing back, and you went back to the old thing. If only they would do the same thing with Dead Silence, the minimap, and the perk system. But I digress. Let's continue on here, ladies and gentlemen. Playlists. There's going to be Valentine's playlists that are going to be happening, and there's going to be new multiplayer modes coming in Season 2, which is to be expected, but they're not announcing those right now. And of course, ranked play. Ranked play will be there at Season 2. It's being headed by Treyarch. It's going to be there, and they say, looking ahead here, where they try to give us an idea of like what is to come, they're going to be announcing more about Season 2 once we get closer and closer. The full Season 2 announcement blog will be released on February 8th. That is like almost 2 weeks from now. That ridiculous, man. With upcoming posts from the studios, including the full Season 2 patch notes, as well as blogs from the Call of Duty staff, all set to drop before launch. So it really does look like we are in this limbo, right? We're still stuck in this purgatory, this giant gap of content, the great content drought of 2023. Nothing is going to be changing between now and Season 2. And when it comes to actual changes in Season 2, if you're a multiplayer fan, like if you don't actually care as much about DMZ or Warzone, if you're primarily a multiplayer fan, the only changes that are going to be taking effect on top of course, there's going to be like new maps, new guns, new battle pass and stuff like that. But in terms of changes, the reason why they delayed this to begin with, so they could have time to listen to fan feedback and make changes to the game, they didn't change really anything. They made it so our bonus perk and our ultimate perk will be earned faster while playing the multiplayer, which I suppose is a good thing because you'll have access to your perks quicker, I suppose. But That's literally it. Like, nothing else is changing. And what's kind of interesting to me is at the very bottom of the blog post here, it says development for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, as well as Call of Duty Warzone 2.0, is led by Infinity Ward, with additional development support provided in alphabetical order by Activision Central Division, Activision Localization Dublin, Activision QA, Activision Shanghai, Benix, Demonware, High Moon Studios, Raven Software, Sledgehammer Games, Team Ricochet, Toys for Bob, and Treyarch. All those studios, and there has been nothing added to the game in the past like month and a half. It's ridiculous. Like, if you think about it, man, Season 1 Reloaded came out on December 14th, or maybe it was the 15th, but regardless, look at Steam charts here. And again, I always bring up Steam charts because Steam charts is like the only accurate numbers that we have. We don't have the accurate numbers for Xbox, PlayStation, or even things like Battle.net, but we do have the information for Steam, right, which is the primary platform for the PC player base. Like, most people play on Steam, some still play Battle.net, but the vast majority still play on Steam. And if you look at it, we had a little bit of a spike here in player base, you know, when Season 1 Reloaded happened, jumped up to 277,000 people, 304,000 people, 307,000 people, and then whoop, it's just like a roller coaster, man. It's just a roller coaster. When it first dropped, you know, we're talking like 300,000 people. As of 34 minutes ago, 82,000 people. That is bad, man. Like, Season 1 Reloaded came out, people were like, oh, there really isn't a whole lot of new content, and then they quickly lost like most of those players, and now we basically just have nothing. And if we look at the entirety of the game's life cycle in general, I mean, dude, like, right about here, right? This is when the game came out, like November 15th, right? It goes up, it peaks pretty good, but look at that slope, man. Like, look at where we are right now. This is on Wednesday, January 25th, compared to around launch. And I understand that when you're talking about the launch of a game, that's going to be like the peak player count. That's when the vast majority of people are going to be playing. That's when the most hype is actually there. But dude, how low are we right now? Like, the fans are speaking right now by not playing. You know what I mean? Like, the player base is dwindling, at least in the PC platform. That's the only place we can actually see some of these numbers. But I imagine if this is happening on Steam, it's probably also happening on Battle.net. It's also likely happening on Xbox and PlayStation with varying numbers, right? I imagine there's a lot more people playing the game on PlayStation as compared to Steam, but everything's relative, right? You just scale it up a little bit, and you can kind of get an idea of like what is happening with the player base. You know, when the game first came out, it peaked and then it dropped down quite a bit. When Season 1 came out, it went up and then it dropped down quite a bit. Season 1 Reloaded comes out, it goes back up and then it drops back down quite a bit. But I mean, December 15th was when we actually got Season 1 Reloaded. It's been about a month and a half right now with literally nothing new being added, and now we have probably, call it 3 or so more weeks, close to a month, before they finally give us Season 2, which will actually give players another thing to do. And going back to like what I was just saying, man, like the fact that we have Infinity Ward and High Moon and Raven and Sledgehammer and Team Ricochet and Toys for Bob and Treyarch and Benix and Demonware and Activision Shanghai and like all these studios working on a game with nothing in it. Like, it doesn't actually make any sense. Like, they are failing the COD community right now. And I know people kind of look at me as kind of like maybe a complainmentator, somebody that like calls out, you know, Activision, Infinity Ward and all them on their bullshit, which I do try to do that, but I also try to be positive as well. Right now, there's like nothing to be positive about. We have all of these studios supposedly working on the game, and nothing is actually happening with the game. They're failing the player base. The game isn't even all that old, and the player base is dwindling like crazy because there's no updates. There's nothing new being added to the game. There's nothing new to do. You know what I mean? As compared to like what you did originally. When it came to Season 1 multiplayer maps, they brought back 2 maps that we've played to death in previous games, and I like those maps because I can grind camos on them. But still, like, in terms of like new content, new things to do, new experiences, there has been nothing happening right now. And I think part of it is the fact that right now maybe Call of Duty doesn't have as much direct competition like it did back in the day with games like, I know these games are not exactly the same, but you know, Call of Duty and Battlefield, and maybe back in, you know, way back when you had like Halo and Gears, like back in like the peak, the heyday of like the shooter genre. I know we have like games like Valorant and Overwatch, and people still play CSGO and things like that, but like when it comes to direct competition to COD, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot out there right now. And maybe as a result, they're, you know, kind of resting on their laurels a little bit. Maybe they're just deciding they don't want to put out as much content because they don't need to. Maybe they're happy with the money they're making right now. Maybe they're laying low until the Microsoft acquisition of Activision gets a bit more traction. Like, I don't know. At this point, like, I'm grasping at straws here, guys, because I genuinely honestly have no idea what they could possibly be doing. Like, season 2 better be insane, but the leaked cover art that we had for season 2, which I can't show it because obviously that's something that's going to be taken down by Activision, but the leaked cover art was freaking Castle from World at War, the same map that they brought back in Vanguard last year. Like, they're just gonna bring back another map. It's not even gonna be a new map. Like, the cover, like the cover art of the season, like the poster child of the season is another map remake. Like, one map remake at that. So it's like, what are they doing? I don't know. And apologies for, you know, I hate when people get too personal in videos and whatnot, but like, I may sound like shit because I have had like this weird chest cold for like a week now, but yeah, I'm like losing my voice, getting upset over the fact that there's nothing to do in COD. Like, I want to grind Modern Warfare 2, but they're basically like going out of their way. At this point, it seems like they're going out of their way to do nothing and make it so the game is as least enticing as possible. Because right now, there's just no reason to sign in. There's no reason to do anything. You know, you may want to finish the Battle Pass, maybe get to level 250, but that's not hard to do, man. It really isn't. So it's like, what's going on here, man? What is happening, Infinity Ward? I have no idea. And at this point, is Infinity Ward even listening to the player base? They say that they're, you know, listening to player feedback. All they changed was they accelerated the rate at which we get our perks a little bit in multiplayer. That's it. No mini-map changes, no dead silence, no revamps to perks overall, nothing like that. No, they're more focused on audio occlusion, wherever the hell that is. Like, I don't know. I don't know anymore, guys. It's frustrating. Hopefully season 2 is good. Hopefully they get their heads out of their ass. Hopefully there's some stuff to talk about soon. But man, I'm going to have to start covering older CODs or something like that again because, man, there has been nothing to cover. I'm going to have to bring back Dear Nero because I need to make videos, man. I need to, you know, I want to make content, but there's nothing to make content about because I'm like pigeonholed into being a COD channel, and, you know, here we are. I mean, my main focus is covering a game that's dead. Like, I feel like I'm covering a game that came out 15 years ago because a game that came out 15 years ago gets just as many updates as this one. That's ridiculous, man. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how things are going to play out, ladies and gentlemen. But for right now, that is all for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback on this quote-unquote blog post down there in the comment section below. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.